Yoshi, at the time of me writing the script, has just dropped a teaser for Gate 2 Tides Conflict, and the reactions have been mixed. Praise for art style, praise for new stories. Meanwhile, there's criticisms of still frames being included, no Rory in it, and the biggest one, it not being a continuation of Gate Season 1. I get the disappointment, I really do. When the teaser dropped for Gate 2 Tides of Conflict, I was really excited, and I decided to go look at the comments section to see what I was finding. And to my annoyance and curiosity, I found that a lot of people were mad that it was a new story and not a continuation of the original Gate. But here's the thing. It's been 11 years since Episode 1 aired, and nearly 10 since it ended. That's not a short gap, it's not a...
We'll wait a bit to make a Season 3.
That's a generation in anime time. Most anime are done if a new season isn't announced within 3 years. And that's if they sell in Japan and overseas. Gate sold well in Japan, and it had a strong wave in the US from its release until a year after it ended. But momentum matters, and Season 3 would require people to rewatch a decade-old anime, reinvest emotionally after a decade of silence, and hope the studio can pull everyone back after a decade. That's not impossible from a business standpoint. That's really risky, and most studios don't want to do that because you need licensing negotiations. You need voice actors, either original, who have aged and possibly had their voice changed and moved agencies or have taken other roles, or you recast and deal with backlash. And you need the studio to commit to finishing something they wrapped up in 2016. That's a lot of moving parts, and I know already someone's typing,
but I'd watch it.
So would I, and that's not the issue. The issue is whether it makes sense, and here's the bigger problem: adaptation. The Gate anime covered roughly 82 manga chapters in 24 episodes, and even then, it cut a lot of material which was meaningful for the story. Season 3, if it wanted to finish the story, would have to cover 70 chapters. 70. That includes Tyloo's death, Zorzel's death, the Gate closing, a year and a half passing in the special region, 4 years passing on Earth. That's very heavy political stuff to just cut out. And to adapt in one season, you'd have to cut half of it. To do it properly, you need at least 2 seasons. And then what? You end on another cliffhanger and restart the same conversation in 3 years? At some point, you have to admit when a story ended where it needed to. And also there's the right situation, which I roughly mentioned earlier. The anime was produced by A1 Pictures under Aniplex. The author, Takoma Yanai, maintained control over what could and couldn't be adapted. So for Season 3, we either need to get A1 back on board after a decade, or hand it to a new studio and hope that they can copy what A1 Pictures did. Now, yes, A1 did bring back Sword Art Online alternative Gun Gale Online after 6 years, and I liked it. I really did. I loved that anime. But that was 6 years, not 10, and Sword Art Online has a huge fandom. Gate, not that much. It has a loyal fandom, though. But that's besides the point. So is Season 3 impossible? No. Is it the smartest move? Also no. And then there's the no Rory, no Gate argument. I understand, but I disagree strongly. I won't stay here long, but look at fan content. For the top 5 fanfics: The Fight We Chose, Here We Go Again, A Sky Full of Fire, A Pile of Empty Brass, Here We Go Again. They don't revolve around Rory as a main character. And Gate isn't just one character. It's not a Tommy, it's not Rory, it's not Pina Colada. It's a political sandbox. It's a shoot 'em up. It's a setting. It's a concept. It's a plot point. And that sandbox doesn't disappear because one character isn't front and center. So no, Gate 2 not being Season 3 isn't a betrayal. It's a pivot. And honestly, it might be a smarter one. But why is Gate 2 so cool? Well, right now, if you aren't a member of Oshi, you see three things: art style, music, and some animation. Number one, art style. Season 1 of Gate had art which was perfect for what it was trying to be. It was ground-focused, clean, practical. It fit those early episodes. Recon teams moving town to town in the dirt. Soldiers talking about what they'll do when they get home. Boom, boom action. Dragons getting shot out of the sky. Here's the thing, Gate wasn't just that. After the first few episodes, it shifts hard into a political, diplomatic drama. And sometimes the clean aesthetic didn't meet that shift. It more so was honestly counterproductive. You have characters with wide, beautiful eyes who are discussing money. And not just, oh, we have $20 to go spend at the mall. It's, we are down $1 million. What are we going to do? You go from sunlit military movement to dark forest, dragon lairs, imperial backrooms. The lighting just didn't carry the weight of that change. Now look at Gate 2, it has a conflict. Its art style is intentional. It almost looks comic-inspired, which we don't really see in Japanese animation a lot. White limestone glows instead of just existing. Shadows feel deep, and faces carry more detail. When you see someone like, I'm probably going to butcher this name, by the way, Tokashima Hajime, you can see calculation. You can see what they're feeling, what they're thinking. When you look at someone like, another one I'm going to butcher, Odette Z Nebula, you can see curiosity, wonder, uncertainty. It feels like exploration, not just an invasion. And that right there is a tone shift. A really good one, which is why the music also fits. Now, the teaser uses a remix of Gate's original main theme. It sounds heavier, more restrained, less triumph. And the original soundtrack, composed by, holy cow, another name I'm going to butcher, you wouldn't believe this, Toteshiku Urata, leaned into strong brass and heroic military motifs. It sounded like military hyping gods mixed with Halo 3. This remix sounds like Halo 3 ODST. Instead of storming the other side of the gate, it's the calm before something complicated. That tells you something about the tone. This isn't JSDF stops Fantasy Army anymore. This is the Japanese Navy having to decide where they're going to go, what they're going to be, what they're going to see. And normally this is where I go deep into the animation comparisons, but honestly it's through. We haven't seen a full-scale moment which rivals Italica, and we haven't seen something on the level of the Japanese diet scenes. And that's fine, because Gate 2 isn't selling spectacle right now, it's selling tone. And for what we've seen, that tone shift is deliberate. It feels more mature, more cautious, more aware, and that's why it's cool. So the source material. Released by Tacoma Yaonai in 2017, Gate Season 2 Way Anchor focuses on the JMSDF, the Japanese version of the US Navy, 10 years after the gate has opened. Very fittingly, actually, nearly 10 years after the original web novel was released. And Gate 2 is based off that. Now, I won't go into much more details about the story because I think it's a really good story which you need to read. And it fixes a lot of what Gate originally had. Is there still plot holes? Yeah. Is there a JSDF character like Kurabashi? No. Should there be a JSDF character like Kurabashi in Gate 2? From a plot perspective, no, it's stupid. She's too gung-ho. And that right there is what all comes into play. Gate 2 is what worked in Gate 1 with a new coat of paint and a Super V6 instead of a V8. Gate is flawed. JSDF going to war without American supervision. Soldiers being a bit too perfect with their dress and appearance and conduct. Oh, and one recon team being the entire hero of a war. Waker isn't that. It was meant to be a focus on submarine crew exploring new lands and being caught up in politics of a Balkanized region while having to show extreme prejudice while they're trying to find a missing journalist. So what does this mean for Gate 2? It is going to be kind of cool. What this does mean for Gate Season 3, we don't need it. Also, Gate Season 3 would be a Season 2. The original release is 2 halves of a season, so why are we asking for a Season 3? Do we want another light novel, this time based off the Japanese Aerospace Self-Defense Forces or whatever they're calling it? Because honestly, I don't. Anyways, have a good one. Have a great one, and thanks for stopping by today.